Welcome to The Author Show, where we present new authors and books. From fiction to self-help and everything in between, you'll find it all here. To watch the TV version of our program, visit authorswebtv.com. That's authorswebtv.com. And now, let the show begin.
Hello and welcome back to the show. This is your host, Don McCauley. Today we're welcoming the program author Emeka Iwenofu, and Emeka is the author of Mandy's Miracle. In the tradition of his mentors, Og Mandino, Anthony Robbins, Napoleon Hill, and Wayne Dyer, Emeka teaches young readers through engaging works of fiction how to achieve their dreams. While the teachers of yesterday have transformed the lives of many people, young people today may not be aware of those teachings. Emeka brings those life-changing messages filled with hope and promise to the youth of today in ways that are engaging, transformative, and powerful. He's the owner of Hope Point Press and is the winner of the coveted 2013 50 Great Writers You Should Be Reading Award. He hopes his books continue to inspire people of all walks of life on how to create a more fulfilling, prosperous, and rewarding life for themselves and their families. Emeka, how are you?
I'm great, Don. Thanks for having me. I'm wonderful. Thanks.
Let's start with a big question. Tell us about your book, please.
Well, yes, Mandy's Miracle is part 2 of the Miracle Trilogy series that is set in the 1960s civil rights era in Mississippi, that tells of a young black girl named Mandy and her struggle through terminal cancer and other challenges during her childhood before receiving guidance and teaching through her white mentor and healer, Francine, who later encourages Mandy to pay it forward as payment for what she did for her.
So who did you write your book for specifically?
Well, I wrote this book for youth, teens, parents, grandparents, students, school teachers, and educators, and primarily anyone looking to find a positive breakthrough through their current situation and circumstances.
Now, is there a central message here or an underlying theme that you could say runs throughout your book?
Yes, there is. Basically, that anything that any person desires can be accomplished through the proper thinking and right attitude, especially when it comes to better health.
If you could compare your book with any book out there we might already be familiar with, which book would it be and why?
Well, the first book that comes to my mind is the book The Help by Catherine Stockett, which eventually also turned into a movie, because it deals with a maid in the South during the Civil Rights era in the 1960s and her relationship with her white employer, Francine. So I really believe that time or that book pretty much resonates well with Mandy's Miracle.
What compelled you to write this story?
Well, through the problems I observed from people in the past who were struggling in different areas of life without the proper means to changing their situation. Some came from broken homes, horrible childhoods, dysfunctional families, and things of that nature. Basically, lifestyles or experiences that was opposite from where I grew up or how I grew up. And so I wanted to create a series of books designed in guiding people to a positive path through their circumstances and situations.
What's the connection between this story and your earlier project, Francine's Miracle?
Well, this book, Mandy's Miracle, which culminates part 2 of the Miracle Trilogy series that discusses Francine's life as an adult mentor who passes on positive principles as she was taught to attain her miracles through the first book, Francine's Miracle. So primarily, it's a sequel to her childhood life as a mentor, now mentoring Mandy in Mandy's Miracle.
Did you have to do a lot of research to make this book come alive in the 1960s?
Absolutely. I had to research the lives of leaders during that decade, the 1960s era. Also, I read a number of books by Zora Neale Hurston from where I got the Southern drawl at that time.
How long did it take you to write this book?
Well, it took me 6 weeks, actually. I kid you not. It was like a huge bolt of inspiration just took over my mind, my body, my fingers, and just wrote itself. So it was a spontaneous energy that basically allowed me to write it that fast and that quickly, almost like I was there throughout.
Have you gotten any endorsements or praise from people who've read the book?
Absolutely. I have endorsements from different authors, bloggers of websites, radio show hosts, even film producers from Chicago who, in fact, were very thrilled by the book. In fact, I must share this. When they got to chapter 2 of the book, they pretty much compared this to the movie The Butler, and were really excited and really recommended it to all their friends and family as a great inspiration of what can be done with the human mind.
Would you say that you have a specific writing style?
That's a great question. I think I work best with writing linear books, basically books and different events, past events with historical events that occurred. And I express more about my characters through their dialogue and activities rather than just tell about them.
Who or what would you say influenced your writing the most?
I want to say Mandino, only because his books tell more of a story of a person's transition from rags to riches, if you will. And basically his underlying theme is more of positive results and positive thought and attitude with universal principles and laws, which I incorporate in my books. So I pretty much would say overall, out of all the numerous books I've read of different authors, his resonates most with my writing style and what inspired me to write this series.
The characters in your books, are they pure fiction, or do you draw from people you know in real life?
They are fiction, actually, yes.
Would you say that you're more of a character artist or more of a plot-driven writer?
I want to say I'm both. I love the characters in my stories that I compose, but I also like to give plot and a little bit of suspense to keep the reader guessing and interested to reading more. So I want to say I'm both.
Now, would you say that you're an outline writer? I mean, you said that you wrote this last book in 6 weeks. Do you sit down and outline where you're going with the whole thing and then just write it? Or is it more of a situation where you have a general idea where you're headed and then kind of sit down and let things flow as they may?
I would agree with you with the second idea. Primarily, all my books are, how I write primarily is spontaneous, to where there's nothing scripted or rehearsed or outlined. Primarily, I just get in front of the computer and just type away. And it may take maybe 2 to 5 minutes for an idea to come in my head, but as I'm writing, the ideas just flow.
Other than selling the work, of course, is there anything else you hope to accomplish with it?
Yeah, basically I intend for it to be translated into multiple languages, inspiring people throughout the world. And I also intend through my books to actually do speaking and motivational lectures to people who are either having roadblocks in their lives and really mentor them on how to correct that and possibly guide them to the dreams or desires or goals of their choice.
Kids today are faced with all kinds of challenges that in the past they really didn't have to deal with. Do you think that the messages from people like Mandino and people like that, do you think that they're appropriate in today's world?
No. Mandino, as great of a writer he was, his book really is centered more on biblical times and ancient era, if you will. But now with the age of the internet, different fashion and clothing, and also the whole trend in culture and social settings of today, people need books primarily that discuss with issues of today, being it if it's dysfunctional family, traumatized childhood, alcohol, drugs, any type of the, social issues that people deal with, my books address to the heart, and really of how to correct that if they're really serious. Because people are more relatable when they can relate with things that they've experienced or have observed, and I think my book just does that, because my books, be it if it's health problems or financial issues or marital problems or a dysfunctional family or all kinds of issues of today, my entire trilogy deals with all those issues and how to correct that, versus Mandino's books, which was more linear and one-dimensional and did not address those issues.
Should educators be looking at this book?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, this book is sort of designed to educate people of different social settings or backgrounds, and I believe educators who are trying to reach students or even in their family, their children or whoever they feel needs reaching, if you will, this book really can teach the proper way in order to basically attract that knowledge and idea in order to inspire the person who needs mentoring on how to go about that. And so I believe this is a wonderful insight to educators on the proper way of helping counsel people that are troubled by their situations.
In your opinion, who should buy this book?
Basically, I want to say teens, parents, grandparents, students, school teachers, and educators, because the central theme throughout this book stems around positive thought, attitude, and the outcomes when you believe and have proper attitude or flow to doing things. And so all those people I just mentioned can either be inspired in order to improve their way of life or improve others around them. So it's more of something that will resonate and strike their chord on what they need to change their situation for the better if they really want to.
Time is getting very short, so the most important question, where can readers find you and your book?
Well, none other than mandysmiracle.com. That's MANDISMIRACLE.com. It matches just the title, mandysmiracle.com. Check it out.
Could you spell your name for us, please?
Yes, EMEKA, last name IWENOFU.
Well, this has been just great. Our guest today has been Emeka Iwenofu, and he is the author of Mandy's Miracle. Emeka, thanks very much for being with us today.
Thank you. That was a pleasure.
This is Don McCauley wrapping up another edition of The Author Show. Listen to some of your favorite authors every day, 24/7 by visiting theauthorshow.com. Just click on the book title and the player at the top of the page. These interviews are available to book buyers worldwide on demand. If you'd like to be a guest on the show and feel you could benefit by getting in front of your target audience with a high-quality media interview that will make a real impact, visit www.theauthorshow.com, fill out the form, and we may be contacting you shortly. Join us here next time for another great book and another exciting author on The Author Show.
Thanks for listening to The Author Show. To contact us, call toll-free 1-877-955-8800. That's 877-955-8800. Or visit theauthorshow.com. That's theauthorshow.com. Tune in next time to another great author on The Author Show.